Good morning, trade pros. Hope you guys are having a great day. It is officially Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, and it's George Papsov, Trade Pro Academy. We got a great update for you, a little lengthier, but we'll get through it. We'll keep on topic, and I'll try not to get distracted too much. All right, so let's talk about, first and foremost, something pretty interesting, okay? A topic I really can't talk too much on YouTube with all these transcription services, etc. But Bill Gates, World Health Organization, and the NIH got hacked yesterday. Very interesting. 25,000 email addresses and their passwords were dumped online. All right. Some pretty disturbing information came out of that. I'm going to tell you this: you can't believe everything at fair value. You have to do your own research before coming to any conclusions. I think being informed is really good, but being misinformed is really dangerous, and there's a fine line between it. All right, that's all I got to tell you on that topic. In other news, Brent oil takes a beating overnight. For the most part, Brent has been sheltered. That's the contract in Europe that trades on the London Exchange. It's actually the benchmarker for global oil prices. WTI is the one in the US. So with news surrounding WTI and the crash in the last couple of days, Brent dropped 17.3% as well to $15.98 a barrel, lowest level since mid-1999. WTI was down 6%. It's now recovered since to as low as 1087, 1026 on the overnight low. All right. Interesting things have happened as a result of this oil volatility. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME, the world's biggest commodities exchange, raised margin on crude futures, so it's going to be more expensive to trade it today. Margins are up at the exchange, and that's going to trickle down to your broker. It already has. And another thing I found interesting is they're going to allow or going to list options on crude oil with negative strike prices, which means they expect this to continue, which means, even though we've dipped into negative once, it could happen again if they're going to be listing negative strike prices. Obviously, they want you to write those options so they can collect that premium, right? Or the spread on it at least. The whole goal of the exchange is to just generate volume to ride the bid to offer spread. And on that note as well, with this crude carnage, we're starting to see some spillover effect in a few companies. Interactive Brokers took an $88 million loss on this drop to negative in the futures on their crude oil positions. Some of their customers have went into negative balances. We'll be hearing about a lot more brokers in the days to come that face some of these challenges. I'll tell you this about Interactive Brokers. I'm not worried at all. They're mainly an institutional platform, and there are very few undercapitalized wild west type of traders with them who go in and just smack around oil on maximum margin. Okay, most of them are institutional clients or more pros, and in addition to that, their margins are pretty high to begin with. They don't reduce margin to as low as some of the day trading brokerages. All right, so I think they're good, but it's a huge loss for the company, obviously, but they'll pull through. United States Oil Fund, USO, has just announced that they're doing a 1-for-8 reverse stock split. Okay, it'll reduce the number of shares outstanding on the ETF by 8 times. So they basically take the number of shares divided by 8, whatever the price is of the share times 8. And at the end of the day, you're kept whole. If you see in your account the USO price going from $2, to 16, and you try to sell that thinking that you made an 8 times return on your money, you try to sell the old shares with the new price. Some brokerages, hopefully, knock on wood, don't allow you to do that. But if they do allow you and you do it, you're on the hook for that money, guys. You got to be informed. You got to know this. Brokers assume that you know what you're doing. And so that reverse split's happening as of shareholders on April 28th. They're going to reverse the split price of USO. They're going to receive shares, and options pricing and positions will also be adjusted if you hold any open. So, the next couple of days after the 28th, we got 6 days. If you don't want that to happen, you sell the USO. I have some long options on the USO, and I'm going to hold it. They're not enough to make me lose sleep at night. It's kind of a fun little position. See where we go from here. All right. In other news, Netflix is booming. Yesterday, huge report. Chris and I talked in the room, and with some of the other trade pros, like, watch this, it's going to pop and then fade. That's exactly what happened. They added a record 15.8 million paid subscribers during the first quarter. Netflix did, smashing the 8.5 expectation, almost doubling over that. And the stock went up 3% after hours on the news. It's up 34% year to date. And it quickly erased its gains. I just checked it this morning, a couple minutes ago. It's down 1.5%. So not only did we lose the earnings gains, We also lost some of the share price from yesterday. Okay. Here's the thing about Netflix. Cash flow at the moment isn't an issue. Why is that? Because they're not spending that much money to create and purchase licensing for content. It allows them to have more cash flow. However, and also during coronavirus, there's more demand for people who want to waste time during this to watch Netflix all day long. But at some point, consumers are going to consume all of the content, and there isn't any new content. That doesn't bode well for the future. And so most shareholders realize that. Most people investing in this realize that. And more importantly, they said that there's heavy uncertainty surrounding effects of COVID-19. They also said that as the government lifts their confinement and stay-at-home orders, it's going to expect to see growth decline pretty rapidly. And then they got to get on the bandwagon of creating content. And if anyone's even created a YouTube video, you're going to know how much work it is to go from concept to polished video to the viewer, only for somebody to watch 30 seconds and make a stupid comment. That's how it goes. This is the world that we live in. I'll tell you this with Netflix. This is more of like an outside the market thing. If you're home right now, this is a chance to work on something for yourself, all right, to build something, to learn how to trade, to learn how to do anything else, to start that website you've always wanted where you sell like knitted hats, whatever it is, no matter how much silly it sounds. I'm sure somebody thought Jeff Bezos was silly when he was trying to sell books online. Like, that's what the library is for. And then look at this, $100 billion company plus. Okay, so what you got to realize, $1 trillion company plus, by the way, not 100 billion. Bezos alone is worth 100 billion. So what you got to do is use this time productively. Okay, I think we're over the inflection point where we're home and eating food for comfort and just trying to get used to this new normal. Now we're used to it. We should be using this time productively. So what I'd like to see you guys, I don't usually have these kind of opinions, but I do this morning. All right, what I'd like to see you guys do is do something positive for yourselves. Use this time wisely, not just dent the cushions in your couches, if you know what I mean. All right. So that's Netflix. It's a shame that so many people are watching it. It almost hurts my heart during a time like this, because then we're going to fast forward a year from now and we're going to go back to work. Say, I wish I had more time to do this, to do that, to start my business, to start trading. You did have more time, and you watch Netflix, and the numbers show. All right. Delta Airlines Q1 of 2020 shows an adjusted earnings per share of minus 51 cents. It's, this is an early look at the airline performance. Expectation was minus 0.74. Revenue came in pretty good, 8.6 billion versus 8.92 billion, but they see Q2 revenue dropping by 90%. All right, that's what kind of scared the market. The company says it's burning through $100 million per day at the end of March, although it expects that to fall to just $50 million per day by the end of June. So there's a lot of cash burn going on at Delta. A lot of these airlines are literally, there's so much money involved on such a low margin business. I think there was one study once where they removed a pea from each one of the lunch trays that they served for a year, and it was a couple $1 million of cost difference. Think about that on freaking peas. It's a heavy capital business with a low return percentage, so they're hurting right now. Delta came out with those earnings. Chipotle is the one that is kind of sticking out, up 5.8%. All right, expecting deliveries to stay strong for food during this lockdown. Snap is up 20.5% after hours. Okay, Coca-Cola missed, down 2.5%. Lockheed Martin down 2.5%. Netflix pretty much flat, but now negative for the day. Okay, markets advancing a little bit overnight. In Asia, Japan's down 0.7. Hong Kong's up 0.7. China up 0.6%. India up 2.4%. In Europe at midday, London up 1.3, Paris and Frankfurt less, 0.3 and 0.7. And in the U.S., stock markets are up about 1.5%. Okay, this isn't big news. Crude oil is down, okay, but it's rebounding, and it's actually gone above yesterday's close. Gold's up 2%, Bitcoin's up 1.6. On the crude oil front, yesterday morning in the trading room, I don't know if I said it on YouTube, but in the trading room I said I expect to hear some kind of action from the government to help support this, and from OPEC, and from other countries who aren't part of OPEC, because now it's become real. Okay, now they're losing and burning through a lot of money, especially economies that rely on oil heavily. All right, we're looking at the unemployment claims number tomorrow. That's a big one. Today we have crude oil inventories. Normally cause a lot of volatility, but if this isn't volatility, I don't know what is on crude. So come out and check it out anyways. I used to say 1 hour you could make your whole weekly paycheck, but you could still do it right now. Right now it's moving so fast that I think crude oil inventory it's a little bit less important, but we will still trade it today. We'll still look for the opportunity. And I think if there's a miracle of a chance that there's a draw, we're going to rip magnitudes $5, $6, $10, $15 at a time. I don't think it happens though. All right. Storage is flush full everywhere. 7 a.m. we had mortgage applications and market index 768 versus 770. It didn't really drop as much. Mortgage applications have only gone down 0.3% week over week. Actually, they're minus 0.3, so they're down. The prior week was 7.3, so it's actually a 7.6% drop, which is pretty significant. All right, refinance index is 4,200 versus 4,242 before, so people are still refinancing now, and why not, right? If you have property, you refi it, use the cash flow to get by a couple months, and that's just the way it goes. What we're looking for in the market is to see, will it reopen? Will the economy reopen? Right now, another stimulus package gets pushed through, $500 million this time. So keep an eye out on that. At the moment, everyone's just waiting for the next transition point, if you will, the turning point of this COVID virus. I'll tell you to stop worrying about that and look at the chart right now, because all the opportunity you ever need is right now. You don't even need to know where it's going 5 minutes from now. You just need to be able to analyze now to get good investment and good trade decisions. Love you guys. See you in the room. Got to go. 10:30 oil inventory. Stay safe. Listen to the news. And, there's no need to be a superhero today. Smaller size. Professional traders scaled down with high volatility. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe. Over to our oil desk to talk about some levels for oil today. Cheers. Bye, YouTube. Peace. Love you guys. Morning, box.